Hello and very warm welcome everyone. It's Marta here. This is day 2 of our World Card Making Day celebration together with two Monicas and Katarina. We are coming 4 days in a row with some freebies and inspirations, especially for you. Now, my friends, today, day number 2 is my own designs, which you could see over here. And I wanted to do something special for my lovely friends. So instead of creating one card, I'm gonna be making 3. Now I'm starting from DL size card. I am scoring my card base at 4 inches and I'm just simply chopping the rest of the paper. And I think I did the greatest job when scoring paper, so I'm just trimming it, making sure I have this nice finish on all 3 sides. Now I'm gonna be using this background design paper, and all the links, by the way, to all the paper freebies and other video inspiration, I will link them down below in the description area. And I do have this huge favor to ask. I would love if you could join this little collaboration and check the videos of our crafty friends, Monica from Paper Mona, another Monica crafting with Cooling Lady, and Katarina create with Katarina. I would love if you could visit their channel and have a look on their videos, and of course their freebies as well, because every single day one of us will present you with some free digital design. Now once I create this panel from the design paper, I'm cutting slightly smaller layer, and I've used this very old tartan embossing folder to create this kind of like a tartan effect, and I thought this will remind me like a fabric. I really wanted to use this kind of like a sweater embossing folder, but I don't have anything like that. I've seen them online. I'll definitely have to have a look, because I like this kind of like a knitted pattern. I think it's just looking cool. Now I adhere my background piece to the card, and I'm just gently lifting the edges. I also distress them with the help of the scissors. This is something which helps to create more dimension to your card, and then I will be adhering the panel on top of that. However, I want to slightly raise it, so I am using this double-sided foam tape. And of course, as always, I highly recommend you, if you're working with the foam tape, definitely use some sort of the adhesive. That could be a liquid glue or hot glue, anything just to secure it, because those tapes, they tend to dry with the time and they just get loose. So there's nothing worse than giving a card to someone and then the cards start falling apart. So always be secure. It's always better to add dash of the glue rather than to be sorry later on. Here I've decided to use this watering can as my focal point, and I am lifting it with double layer of the foam tape. My foam tape is quite flat. It's just 1 millimeter, so whenever I would like to have it a little bit extra, I am just doubling it so I could raise my focal point slightly higher. Now I also have couple extra bits. I'm gonna be using this like a flowery image and few extra leaves here. I think it's just gonna be nice and simple, kind of like a clean and simple look card, but I really like that this white is kind of speaking the volume for the card. I really like this elegant look, and I think it's just in overall, even though it's quite simple, this card turned it out quite cute. Now, by the way, let me know if you're watching the videos. Let me know which one of 3 cards will be your favorite, which one is, you know, sparking the joy in your heart. I would love to know that. I think I like 3 of them. Each one of them is slightly different, so it's just, I think it's just something for everyone. Now here I'm gonna be adding the sentiment which says autumn is my favorite color. And this collection, when I was designing it, I actually created a little bit more pinkish than orange. I think it's just gonna be something different, you know, a little bit more change than just creating all brown and orange. I like to go outside the box from time to time, and I thought this kind of like a pinkish shade will be a nice addition to all the autumny palette which you already may have in your stash. Now here I also added a little bit of the pink bow. This is a nylon string. This is the string which you normally use for creating the bracelets, but I quite like to use it instead of the ribbon because I think they're so delicate and they just have this nice elegant look. To finish off my card, I've decided to create a couple of the splatters, and I am using the Distress Oxide inks in the Victorian Velvet and Brush Corduroy, a little bit mix up of these two, and this helped me to create a couple of the extra splatters, which I think they just go really nicely with all the autumny vibe. They just like a rain splatters or on the card. Here I am also adding couple extra butterflies. The butterflies are always great addition to add some sort of a dimension and movement on a card, so this is something which I really like to add. Here a close-up look on my card, and we can jump on to the card number 2. For my second card, I've started from creating the card base, which I'm not gonna be using. But the reason behind this is that I had this idea in my head to create this paper rosette using this background design paper, and because I had this leftover piece, I cut it into 3 strips, and later on, once I put my rosette all together, I noticed that I actually need slightly bigger card base, so I've just decided to change my mind. So here I have those 3 strips. Each one of them I am adding some decorative finish by using this very old punch from Marta Stewart. Once I've punched one side of the strip, then I've placed it on my scoring board and I score it every half an inch, and then I've just folded the strips into little harmonica. This is something which is super easy, and I think this is such a nice effect to add some sort of a special look to your card, even if you don't have like access to die cutting machine or something. If you've got one of the border punch, this is another thing you can use them for, and this is always creating this special look on the card, something different you can add on instead of using dice. Here I am joining 2 pieces together, and once I joined them both, I realized they kind of feel like 2/3 of the circle, so I'm just gonna be punching the border on a third one. That way I could have this nice full look on my paper rosette. But even though like that, you can use this half of the rosette and adhere it to the edge side of your card, and that will be looking nice as well. Just in case you're not always need to use the full rosette, you can also experiment and create like a half circle or something like that. Here I did exactly the same punching and scoring on the third bit, and I am joining them together with the help of the liquid glue. I definitely recommend to use the liquid adhesive for the things like that because the liquid adhesive will give you a little more room to wiggle, and it will be, once it will, you know, bond together, the paper will stay intact. When if you use the foam tape or double-sided tape, that could just go apart. Here I am just joining the 2 ends together, so now I have kind of like a bracelet, and once I will put it flat, it will create this lovely rosette you can see here. So here I was just looking on the card base and I thought, oh, I definitely need a bigger one. However, before I'm gonna be creating another card base, I want to add a little extra dash of the gold to my rosette. So for that, I grab my embossing ink, and then I've just smeared all the ends when the rosette was kind of unfolded, and then once I place it flat, I only go on those like raised edge just so I could have a little bit extra gold coming up on this like little folds here. Whenever I'm seeing that I have too much of the embossing powder, I'm just going over with my finger and then just remove it. I'm really liking this technique because this is giving me this kind of like organic and distressed look, and I think this gold embossing powder is really enhancing this punched edge with this decorative edging at the end here. I've decided to I'm gonna be creating the circle card base, so for that I found the die I want to use, and then I place it on my paper so I could know where to score it, so I have enough space for my circle. Now I am adhering the circle on the top folded edge just so it's gonna be sticking out over this score line just teeny tiny bit, so I could have this nice joining on my card. This is the easiest way to create the card base, and I think this way the card is just looking the best rather than creating two separate circles and then fold one like 1 inch from the top. This is the technique I prefer wherever I need to create the circle card base. Now I add lots of the adhesive, making sure that it's going all over the edges, and then I am gluing these two circles together. And if you are worried about this line in the center, you can always cover it up with another circle. Now, one more thing I like to do whenever I'm working with the circle card, I just want to make sure that they're not going to be wobbling too much. So when I adhere both circles together, I like to place them on my scoring board just so the score line will be along the one of the scoring lines on the board, and then I am adding additional marking on the bottom of one circles. This will serve me as a guide, so whenever I'm gonna be chopping the little bit, it's gonna be sitting straight, and the card will be just nicely straight when it's standing. Now I've cut myself a little circle with the scissors, and I'm just using it to secure my rosette from the back. That way I can place it on my circle die and just see if it's nice and straight. So I will have the equal distance framing from all sides. Here I've decided to bring a little bit extra gold embossing to the edge of my circle card, and again I am just smearing the edges with the embossing ink, and I'm aiming for this very organic natural look. I really like this type of the cards. I think there is something special with the golden embossing powder and decorating all the pieces with this very thin frames all around. Here I wanted to have slightly bigger circle for my focal point, so instead of the ephemera element which is added in this designs, I've cut this watering can from the design paper directly. That way I had it a little bit bigger, but you can also enlarge the size of the printing area, something I did in the previous video when I was playing with the Monica papers. Here I have a couple of the additional oak leaves, and these are made with the die I was sharing with you at the beginning, and I've decided to slightly color them just to help them blend better with my papers. So I've sprayed them with the water, and I'm adding a little extra ink on on the piece of the foil, and now I've decided to create the smooshing technique. This wasn't the greatest idea because the second I press my foil, the leaf starts sticking to it. So I just had to use my tweezers and then just go separately one by one, dipping them in the color. It took me a little bit extra time, but it's still working really well, and in overall I'm super happy how they turned out. And again, because I like all my elements to match, once I finished coloring them with the inks, I also went a little bit extra with the splatters, and then I sprinkled them slightly with the gold embossing powder. And this one, I must tell you, I didn't like the final effect because it was hardly visible. It was just very little of the embossing powder sticking to those leaves. So once I dried them up, I went over back again, and this time I'm adding a drop of the PVA glue to this stamping block, which I diluted with couple pumps of the water. And that way I was able to create big splatters, and then I've sprinkled them with the gold embossing powder. And I need to tell you, oh my word, I absolutely love this effect, and I know that this is something I'll be doing over again and again. And once I splatter my leaves with this watered glue, then I dip them in the embossing powder, and I've heat set it with the heat gun. And once I was drying the embossing powder, you can see here on close-up look, this embossing powder become way more dimensional. I actually share a couple years ago, I think it was like 2 years ago or something, I had this video with the puffy embossing technique, where I am also mixing the embossing powder with glue. I will link it somewhere over here just in case you want to see it, because I must tell you that there's something special happening when you mix up the glue and embossing powder. It's just getting this kind of like structural look. Now, going back to my card, I'm adhering the focal point in the center, and I actually raise it with a piece of the cardboard. I also decided to use the sentiment which says Hello Fall, and I'm backing ink with a little bit of the gold paper, just so it's gonna be matching up with the rest of the card. Here I'm creating very simple composition with couple of those leaves here and there, a little bit on the corner of the, well, it's not a corner because it's a circle card, but I'm trying to create a nice composition, so a little bit here and there, just so we have this nice flow on the card. And once I'm happy with my leaf placement, I am adhering this sentiment. And last thing I've decided to do for this card is to actually add a couple of the water droplets. Again, I think that all the autumny creation, I like when they have some sort of splatters or droplets. It always kind of resemble like a raindrops on the card, and it also providing with additional movement. I'm super happy how this card turned out, and now I'm gonna be quickly jumping to the card number 3. For the card number 3, I've decided to create A5 size card base. So I scored a piece of the watercolor paper in half, and now I am creating the simple background using the design paper, the lighter one from the freebie. Here I am chopping it just teeny tiny bit so I could have this nice frame all around, and I really wanted to use a piece of the vellum. I don't know where I place my folder with all the vellums, but I reminded myself I have this old book with the different type of the papers, including the vellum one, and I quite like it. It has this little extra dash of the gold here. I think it's just the adding a character to it. So here I've chopped it into a smaller rectangle, and I'm just marking myself a dot where to cut. Initially, I wanted to use vellum on its own, but then I thought I really like it to have something a little bit extra underneath. I want to create a little extra dimension, so I've chopped a piece of the cardboard, and this is what I'm gonna be adhering underneath my vellum. And again, to add additional extra dimension to my vellum, I went with my ruler and I gently bent the edges of my vellum. I'm sorry, I'm trying to stay focused on creating narration, but my little kitty, not so little anymore, he is jumping over my lap and kind of disturbing me here a little bit. Anyway, going back to the card, so I have to be double multitasking by giving him cuddles and then trying to record the voiceover. Now, going back to the card, I adhere the background paper to the card, and then I'm gonna be adding this vellum piece in the center, but I want to back it with a little extra piece of the same watercolor paper. I think this extra piece of the paper will help these gold embossed pieces to stand out even better from the background. So here you can see, I think it's just looking a little bit more visible. And then I'm using two of this little wreath, which are included in the free design. And then I will put additional extra die cut piece on the front. So here with the liquid adhesive, I am joining two pieces together, and then I am adhering it flat to my card. So that way the vellum has this nice dimension. And I'm purposely using a piece of the cardboard here, so it will kind of stay nice and flat, because with the foam tape, sometimes the vellum tend to warp a little bit, and I just wanted to prevent that, so I'm using the piece of the cardboard instead. Here you can see I have this nice tag, like a tag shape or label die cut piece, but if you don't have the die like that, what you can do, you can cut two rectangles and use the like a 1-inch circle punch or a corner punch to create the similar effect. I think it's just something elegant in this shape, and I really like to use that one. For this third card, I'm using this cute sentiment saying, "You're my little pumpkin pie," and I'm gonna be adding a little extra, like a little foxy in a hat. My husband says it's a bear, but I think it's a fox because it has this little tail. Let me know, are you team bear or team fox? It's definitely fox for me, but my husband says it's like a little teddy bear. Anyway, I am adding this elegant element on the top of my card, and then I'm adding additional pumpkin cupcake and this cute little foxy next to it, or bear. So let me know what you think. Now here I am slightly bending the edges of this label, of this sentiment. I'm sorry. I'm getting a little bit distracted with having a cat on my lap, so he wants to play, and yes, anyway, I've attached my sentiment, and then I am adding a couple of the extra leaves. So this card is also fairly simple like the first one, but I think that there is something elegant with these open spaces, so they're just giving this nice elegant look. Again, I've decided to finish the card by adding a couple of the butterflies and few extra golden pearls. So here are the final look on my card. I hope you enjoyed this video and this has sparked some joy and some inspiration for you. And if you like it, don't forget to give a like, to share the video with your friends, and comment underneath which of the card is your favorite one. Again, all the links down below to the other videos of two Monicas and Katarina, and the freebie is on my Buy Me a Coffee page, for which you can also find the link in the description area. That will be me for today. Thank you so much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a lovely day. Bye bye.